I'm Claire Rees, and I'm a Welsh girl and I live in Sweden. I emigrated 9 years ago in 2012. I own two businesses. I've got a dog sledding tourist business, and I've got Introbiz Sweden, which is a business-to-business networking franchise, which I brought over from the UK in January of this year. So at the moment, the aim is to bring traction, and I love meeting people, I love events, and I love bringing people together. And in this coronavirus right now, we're just out there to help each other and help other businesses as well, and build our tribe as well. So then eventually, when we are out there, we can all meet up one day. That would be fantastic in Sweden. We have got, I'll tell you at the end, but we have got a launch, an expo on the 3rd of December in Sweden as well with Introbiz, all going well. But today we are with Adam Strong, who I met 2 years ago, and I went on to his mastermind course, and I still am. It's just a little bit on hold at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, and I have to say, 2 years ago when I met Adam, I think I was at one of my lowest points, Adam, and he's sort of seen me grow, I think. I was a waffling, can I say shy-ish person to what I am now, and just needed to be built up, and, through this journey and invest in that time and money into myself, then obviously here I am today, winging it. No. So Adam is an ultra, I'm just going to read this. If it's wrong, Adam, it's from your website.
That's fine, it's no problem.
I know it. I had Anil Gupta on last week and I read his, and Caroline put it together for me and it was wrong and he corrected me. So Adam's an ultra high achiever, corporate productivity authority, serial entrepreneur, as we know by following him on Facebook and on social media. He's an international speaker and thought leader. He currently runs 4 different businesses, maybe more now, and enjoys working with senior business leaders, decision makers, entrepreneurs, and medium-sized company. Adam is also a former elite athlete that trained with Olympian and world champions Sir Mo Farah for 3 years. He takes the same skill set that he's learned as an athlete to teach his clients on how to create high performance work cultures through increased productivity and profitability. He's also an author of 2 books, Move It or Lose It and Fit Body, Fit Business, both written for the business owners and teams that want their businesses to excel and to accelerate faster, quicker, and become more focused. So today we've got 35 to 40 minutes with Adam. Thank you for giving up your time. And he's going to just talk about, during the coronavirus, how we can evolve and transform our business after the COVID, if it's ever going to be an after.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he's going to teach us he's just going to talk on how to, I can't see it, business based on your values and passions, learn how to monetize, how to create a powerful why, discover how to create a unique selling proposition, learn how to become a huge game changer. If any of you follow Adam, he's always a game changer, and he's very, very active on social media. Okay, have you done this? Have you done that? No, I haven't had time. There's something else. So I would just like to welcome my very own mastermind coach, Adam Strong.
Thanks, Claire. Really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. How are you guys doing? I know it's a small group. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome. Very cool. And the reason I love small groups is I love to have this kind of interactive session just to kind of get a bit of an idea about where you guys are at in terms of your journey, more importantly. This is more of a conversation rather than kind of, oh, I'm going to put up a presentation and give you a load of key points. For me, it's about understanding about where you're at right now, because all of us are on different journeys right now. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. And we're all in different points of that. And so let me give an example. What I was going to say is some people here really embrace the whole kind of you know, the whole kind of coronavirus thing and whatever it might be. But then others are still kind of, I suppose, not taking personal responsibility and hiding underneath the white sheets, I guess. So we're all at different points, right? And it's all about stepping up and taking responsibility as such. But let me just quickly tell you a little bit about me, just briefly, before we get started. How did I get into entrepreneurship is probably a big question. So believe it or not, I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 11. And when I grew up, it was myself. My mum was a single mum at the time, and my youngest brother was 3 years younger than me. And we basically lived off the state. So we lived on a council flat or an apartment, top floor flat. And at Christmas time, there wasn't enough money that went around the table. So myself and my brother would get, you know, everyone would, all of our friends would open their presents, you know, and from under the Christmas tree when Santa Claus brought them along. And myself and my brother actually shared our main Christmas present because there just wasn't enough money to win around. And I just thought to myself, it was interesting because 11 was a very strange time. I went through a transitional period. The year before, I'd actually lost my hair through alopecia, which is a form of stress and worry. And what happened is at the age of 11, I thought to myself, do you know what? There's got to be a better way here. There's got to be a better life for all of us. So about 15 minutes from where we were living at the time, there was an 18-hole golf course. And, you know, it had a fairly good reputation, and it was adjoined to a little nature reserve. So I went out one day, and as I was kind of strolling at the age of 11, as you do, I started seeing these golf balls scattered from where the golfers had lost their golf balls when they were playing golf. I found them in the streams, I found them in the bushes and things like that. And I just thought, that's interesting. So next day I went back and I took a bucket with me. And I started getting into the stream, started getting into the river, and started foraging through all the different bushes. And I started collecting golf balls. And as I started walking around the fairway, all the golfers would come up to me and they're like, hey, so I'm interested to find out what you got in your bucket. So obviously I'd had all these golf balls. Now, I don't know if any of you guys play golf, but if you've got still like another 7 or 9 holes to go and you've only got 2 golf balls, it's extremely frustrating because then you can't finish your course, right? So this is how I ended up learning entrepreneurship. This is how I ended up learning sales. So I would have maybe, I don't know, 2 dozen balls in my bucket, right? There'll be different brands, all the different conditions. The Dunlops and the Slazengers and the Nikes, they were like the top brands. They were 10, 12 pound a golf ball. And so they'd negotiate with me on the fairway, right? This is at the edge of the fairway. And they're like, hey, so I know that you've got some wicked golf balls. I'd love to purchase this golf ball. And they might say to me, well, I'll give you £3 for this golf ball. And I'd be like, well, no, hang on. This golf ball I know is £12 brand new. How about we settle on 5, and then we'd shake our hands and we'd walk away from a both deal. And that's how I ended up, you know, learning about sales and entrepreneurship. So, and then what I did is when I went home, I'd have my bags full of pound coins and banknotes when I went back to my mum, and I'm like, hey, look what I made. And she's like, where did you get that from? And I told her the story. And so what I did every time I did it is I'd give a small percentage of that money towards my mum so she could get groceries such as bread and milk. So that's kind of how I got into entrepreneurship at the age of 11. So, and I suppose 30 years on, I guess, almost 30 years on, you know, I'm still doing entrepreneurship and I love it. So that's just a little bit about me as well. So I hope you enjoyed that story. But anyway, first of all, Claire, just want to say thanks very much as well for introducing me. By the way, I wanted to add on to something that you that you kind of forgotten, which was my podcast. We've got a new podcast show out called The Game Changers Experience. So if you guys ever have the opportunity, I don't know if you're a big fan or a favorite of podcasts, but if you check out The Game Changers Experience on Apple or Stitcher or Google or whatever it is, it's been out for about just under, it's 2 weeks today, actually, it's been out. But we've had some amazing shows. And the shows are essentially encompassing There's shows with Olympic athletes, there's shows with influencers, business disruptors, and experts from around the world. And what we're doing is we're taking those skill sets and entwining elite sport into entrepreneurship and what you can learn from both. So, if you if you love your podcast and you're traveling a lot in your car or whatever it is, or in the gym, listen to a good podcast. I'd highly recommend it. So just before we get started, do you mind if I just quickly open up a few conversations with you guys? Can we start with Kat? Kat, do you want to just give us just tell us a little bit about what you do right now? Is that okay? And where you're based and why you do what you do?
Yep. So I'm based in Scotland and I'm a social media marketer. And I have a passion to make sure that businesses get their message out there so that everybody knows who they are and why they are, so that they can feel valued.
Great. And how do you do that?
Through promoting them on social media, by making sure that their content is engaging, by sharing their content.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
Great. And what would you say your biggest pain point is right now?
People understanding the value of marketing.
Value of marketing. So your own message?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Awesome. And just one last question. What do you need in your business?
What do I what?
What do you need in your business?
Probably more clients.
More clients. Cool. All right. Good. Awesome. Thanks very much for sharing that with me. All right. Next person. Gazila, I hope I've said that correctly.
Not too bad. That was pretty close. Gazala.
Gazala.
Yeah, Gazala. Yeah. So, well, my name had to rhyme with my business. So I'm Gazala GB, #1 marketing machine. So basically, I bring over 30 years industry experience in sales and marketing for business growth. You know how people get excited about their new venture or their new business and they're just running like crazy, want to share that, but then they get there and they're like, uh-oh, it's like headlights at the rabbit, and then they panic of what they're going to say, how they're going to say it. So this is when I step in to help people to present powerfully, confidently with my 3 Ps formula and also my 7-step sales process. So basically it's for business entrepreneurs, new startups as well, but also the sales professionals, because that's where the biggest challenge is, that they got the company, they've got their bit ahead of around the products or the service, but getting it presented in a way where they're not selling, but they should be presenting good enough where the sale is done. That's where they kind of struggle. So that's when I help them to close more deals in less time.
Excellent. Good job. And what would you say is your biggest pain point right now in your business?
My pain point actually is being dealt with. It is because, to be honest, this year I really started to implement the kind of rebranding of my work as the #1 marketing machine, and getting my presence is now what my pain was, getting people to land to who I am, where I'm at, what I do, all that. And there was a good enough reason for why that didn't happen before, because I had gone through a grieving process, and last year was kind of rebuilding back to like, here I am again. You know, I had to take time out to get back to my strength. And that part was my pain, because I was like, I realized even taking a few years out for personal reasons, but you realize you can't really even take a day out, like from the algorithms and what you can say, what you can't say, and everybody's got so much of critique to go about the way you go about it. So there was a lot of homework to be done, and now I'm just in the process of implementing my getting myself out there now.
Excellent. And what's your biggest need right now?
My biggest need, that's a good question, because I got too many people and less time, but time you can't get extra because we all got 24 hours.
Absolutely.
I think my need right now is really just I need to put all these things now of dedicated time to switch some things off, to put this in place and go for it.
So it sounds like
strategy wise, I think if there was anything just to get a better understanding to market, you know, when we talk about the word marketing or sales, I mean, there's millions of people out there doing it. I think, although I know my USP aspect of it, I think the need is really just to make sure that in this big, wild ocean of gurus out there, I don't want to be the typical guru and the typical I know this, that, and the other. What I bring is the whole authenticity, uniqueness in why do I wear the hat I do, and why, what has 30 years stood me, and getting that message. I need to just make sure that that part is probably my biggest need, is to get that clear out there in the big ocean.
Awesome. Thanks very much for sharing that with me. I really, really appreciate that. That's giving me a good detail there. So who else we got? Oh yeah, Rachel. Can you talk?
Yes. Hi, yes.
Go for it.
What was the question?
Sorry, the question was, what are you working on right now? And what do you specialize in?
I call it Rachel marketing because I was always using, I guess, your common sense and reaching out to people directly and did projects all over the world, like I did in Sweden. So, and then I moved to technology where you needed to use Google AdWords, and usually the companies that I work for, I had to use my English for them because of where I am. And then I realized that I don't know the phrases correctly of the technology in order to market. So at one hand, on one side, they're outsourcing like Google AdWords people, and it's failing miserably. And I studied it and got a degree in it, but I used to work for Google, and I know that you can't just do Google AdWords and have gold fall from the sky.
So a question for you, just for the sake of time, are you a consultant or are you working for somebody?
Working for someone, but cool. I should.
All right, no worries. All good. And what is it that, what brings you onto the call today?
To establish my connections again in Sweden and see how I can do it and learn about it. And
so relationship building, right?
Yes, doing what I did before.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, cool. So thanks very much for sharing that with me. Okay, guys, I know Claire very well. That's why I'm not going to ask Claire, because by the way, I just give you a quick story. When I think it was for over a year, when I introduced Claire, when we did the live mastermind, I run a private mastermind club in Stockholm, Sweden, and I kept on saying, "This is Claire." And she runs a dog slaying business. And everyone and I didn't know what I was saying. It was just so funny. So, but anyway, we corrected that. But I apologize profusely for many, many months.
I
but
think
it's all
it
good.
took me a year to actually let you do it. And then I said, no, okay, I'm going to, but you know what? It's really funny because I've got somebody at Dawn Evans is saying it now as well. And I'm like, no.
It's an easy mistake to make.
It's sledging with dogs.
Dog sledging. So not dog slaying, not execution. Anyway, guys, listen, I want to give you 20 minutes of really good value. So today is all around, how do you reinvent yourself during and after COVID-19? Because I think that, like I said, we're all at different stages. So for me, this is more of a conversation piece, rather than kind of me putting a presentation or a slideshow together and stuff like that. But what I was going to say, if you don't have pens and paper handy, I'd probably have those right now, because I'm going to give you some stuff. And with me as well, as I speak extremely quickly. So if you need some clarity, perfect. If you need some clarity, then please just say, "Hey, Adam," or use the chat box, and I'll go into a little bit more depth and detail. So the first thing, especially in terms of the COVID-19, is that, most people right now, and I just had a really interesting conversation actually a few days ago with a good friend of mine who's been an entrepreneur for like 25 years. And she's believe it or not, she's a speaker, and she goes around the world. She speaks at different events, and she's a singer and things like that. And I got off the phone to her, and I felt kind of sorry for her, because she's had to go off and go find a job. And I have no problems with people having jobs. I'm an entrepreneur through and through, but that's the kind of disruption, it's caused. And that's just the way it is. But then there's other people which have really embraced the whole kind of situation where we're at right now, and learned some new and implemented some things. So the first thing that I would, and I'll tell you about what I've done actually over the last 3 months. So Claire will know this, but actually about 3 months ago, around March time, when the whole kind of coronavirus hit Europe and stuff like that, one thing that I really did was I really had to think to myself, you know what do I need? Because I do a lot of things. I do a lot of live events and speaking and stuff like that. What can I do to create impact? Because I was having lots of conversations, including conversations with Claire, and everyone was saying to me, they're like, Adam, this coronavirus is going to kill us. It's going to put us into survival mode, you know? So a lot of businesses that I work with are 6-figure companies mainly, and they went from thriving businesses into survival mode within a matter of days. And I had phone calls coming in left, right, and center, and just giving them people advice. And I just thought to myself, you know what can I do to help impact people on a global scale? Because there are other people that are feeling this way. So one thing that I did actually is I created what they call the Game Changers Summit, which was essentially I collaborated and do joint ventures with 30 of the world's leading industry authorities. And we put on an online summit called the Game Changers Summit. So I do business with Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dr. John DeMartini, you would have known some of these names, Sharon Lecter, Chester Elton in the employee space. There are so many people that I did joint ventures with. They loved, and the one thing that I had to do in order to create something which was absolutely out of this world, number one is I did market research. So in Europe in particular, is that I knew that I wanted to create something, so I decided to create a summit. Now in North America and Canada, okay, they're done particularly well, but in Europe they're not done particularly well. And the reason they're not done particularly well is because number one is that it becomes about the organizer. So it comes from a place of ego rather than coming from a place of authenticity. All right, that I didn't want. Number two, lack of organization. Normally most of the summits that I come across, they're extremely unorganized. They haven't been systemized in a way, and they're not streamlined. Number three is I suppose, for me, being an ex-athlete, when I'm focused on a particular project, and Claire will know about this, is that I go all in. Literally, I go all in. I put all my heart and soul into a particular project, and that includes working with clients. I can't have too many things going on at one time, because if I then start to I suppose, spread out my energy and my focus, what's going to happen, especially I'm sure that you guys have done this, is if you've got too many different focuses, what that happens is that you become distracted, and then you just don't get anything done. And then you become disappointed with your results. Nod your head if you feel that, if that's ever happened to you. Yeah. Because to me, it happened to me. I'm particularly good at focusing at that. So we did the Game Changers Summit. And honestly, it was a 30-day marathon, okay? We launched it from start to finish in 7 weeks. I had a newborn baby in between as well, by the way. Yeah, see? A newborn baby in between, and she was born in April. And then, what else can I say? So after 85 emails written from scratch, with all the back-end systems, we've done it all in 7 weeks. I had 6 people on my team working on it full time. It was ridiculous. Then off the back of that, then we launched the podcast, which was the Game Changers experience, because people just wanted more, you know, and we've had so many amazing reviews. So in terms of going back to the summit, what was my beginning part? Well, the first thing I wanted to do is I needed to create a brand. So first of all, I needed to create a strong why. Now you've heard of this before, right? Simon Sinek says it extremely well in his YouTube talk, is going back to what's the real reason why you're doing what you're doing. You know, what is the big differentiating factor between the summit that I want to create and all the other summits that are out there? And that's the reason why I came up with something which was called the Game Changers Summit, right? Because I wanted to essentially take something, right, and essentially being able to take people like Claire to the next level, because there is a next level. And, you know, So that was the first thing. Secondly, is then creating a really big vision. All right. So my big vision, okay, is to help 100,000 entrepreneurs get through the challenging times during the Corona times. That was my big vision. I created that. And that's why I ended up attracting these big names and these big brands, because they love what I stand for. And they love my enthusiasm as well, because enthusiasm sells, right? So vision, mission, what do I stand for? And then my values, you know? So, and these are very basics. These are the basics in terms of fundamentals, foundations. So when you were talking, what was I going to say? When you talk about, you know, creating that USP and thinking, you know, what is it that I can do to be a little bit different to the market? I always say to people, go back to the foundations. The foundations, that you wouldn't build a house without a foundation, would you? It would just fall down. Go back to go back to your values, go back to who you stand for, go back to your why, go back to your vision and the impact and the legacy that you want to create once you've passed. Extremely important. And I've worked with Claire on this. We did when we get together during our mastermind club, we put together what they call a business blueprint strategy. Every time that they come, I hand out the blueprints, we go through the strategy, and then they become accountable. Everyone becomes accountable towards their goals. Accountability is super important. So that's the basics. What I was going to say? The second part actually is to actually do market research. One of the big things that I see in the entrepreneurial world, and maybe you've done this, guys, I don't know, is you skip all of those things and you go straight to creating product. All right. So it's one of the worst things that you can potentially do, because the only person that becomes the biggest fan of your product is you. It becomes from a place of ego. All right. So the next point is to do market research. You can do market research on Monkey Survey, on Google Forms, and go after your key target client, all right, which we'll talk about in a second, and ask them, would it be possible if you could just spend 2 minutes gathering some market research? Facebook groups are actually really useful for doing that kind of stuff. And ask particular questions, like, for example, you know, some of you are in the kind of marketing and branding space. Find out what people's pain points are. Find out what people are frustrated with. Find out what keeps them up at night, right? If you can find out what people's biggest pain points are, right? I honestly know that as soon as you come along with a Band-Aid, right? I guarantee you they'll buy it 100%, but you have to come from a place of compassion and empathy. Yeah. Compassion and empathy, super important. So do your market research. Once you've done your market research, you can then go back to those people and say, hey, so listen, I noticed that you had these challenges right now. I'm creating something, whether it be a program, 7 steps, 5 steps, methodology, secret sauce, whatever it is that you want to create, whether it be a piece of software, okay? Ask them, would they be willing to try it? Okay. And if you guys don't have, if you're trying to grow your client bases right now, testimonial-based marketing is probably one of the most powerful forms of marketing ever. You get them to create create a testimonial for you. All right. You get them to write a testimonial for you because you use that as credibility. So when it comes to writing out your landing pages or your website, whatever it is, you use those testimonials to sell the product or the service or the secret sauce or whatever it is that you have for them. Okay. Really, really important, because it's 10 times more powerful in terms of from a standpoint coming from somebody else than it is from you. All right. 10 times more powerful. So that's, I was going to say, that's the next part. Once you've done the market research, then, and you got to obviously think about who is your key target market in terms of your, and you can call it avatar, I suppose, but really, I'm not even talking about scratching the surface. What I'm talking about is going in really deep about understanding who is your best friend. What you know about your best friend is what you should know about your key target clients. What is it that they enjoy to eat? What is it they enjoy to read? What videos do they watch? What are they into? What TV programs do they watch? Yeah. What social media channels are they on? What do they do in their spare time and their hobbies? Where do they go on holiday? How many kids do they have? Do they have kids? Are they married? Are they single? Okay. Are they black, white, whatever it is? Okay. I want you to really, and the one way to get a really great idea is to go into Google, type in who you believe would be their ideal client, and get some pictures up onto a notice board. And when you're creating landing pages, when you're creating marketing, when you're creating branding, what you're doing is you're looking directly at the picture. It's like you're talking to that person. I can guarantee you this stuff works. It really does. So, so you've got your avatar, and then only then you can then create and monetize your business. And you monetize your business in a number of ways. So essentially what you're doing is you're creating something to fix a problem. Okay. So if you know that, for example, I don't know, that client needs more clients and they are, I don't know, a coach as an example, right? Okay. And what keeps them up at night is essentially they're worried about all the worrying and uncertainty in the world. They're worried about the economy, or they're worried about that they have run out of ideas to grow their business. And if you said to them, oh, I've got some ideas for your business, would you mind just jumping on a call with me, because I've created something and I'd like your opinion, if that's okay. When people are involved in the process, get people involved in the process, they'll love you forever. I can guarantee you. So then you've got your product. You start to articulate a product. One of the things I teach my clients is what they call an ATM, an ascending transaction model, or an ecosystem. So there are products at different price points. You have your free products, my podcast, for example, my YouTube channel, your Facebook groups, and stuff like that. It's all free stuff. Then you have what they call a product for prospects. Product for prospects is a product or a service or something which is generally has huge amounts of value, but should be systemized as much as you can possibly go. So for example, some of you know that I've created an online signature course. We've got the Game Changers Summit, so people can purchase that if they want to. We've got different things going on right now under the P4P. Now, when people are ready, then they can move to the next level. Not everyone is going to get to the next stage. It all depends on where people are at in terms of their business. All right. And then you'll have your main products or your main services or your main secret sources. So at the moment, what we're doing in our business is we're actually creating an accelerator, a 12-week accelerator program, and that will be our main thing for moving forwards. And so that's going to be our main thing. And then you've got what they call the after sale. So in the case of, say, BMW as an example, the after sale for that would be a service pack on your car. All right. That would be an example. It might be an event invitation or whatever it might be. So then you've got your product ecosystem, essentially. The next thing is really building up joint ventures and partners. So one of the things that I did off the back of the summit actually was I had already had 30 potential partners to do business with anyway. But then I had so many people approach me and say, hey, can I partner with you? Can I do this? Can I do that? Oh, I saw you do this. I saw you do that. Honestly, I had so many people approach me. It was just crazy. So joint ventures and strategic alliances, there's a big difference between the two, by the way. And when you're approaching joint venture partners, offer value first. Really important. So if you, I don't know, say you have an Instagram influencer, for example, that you want to partner with, right? And they've got like 10 million followers and you think, oh, they could be really good for my business, right? Find out what's important to them first. Find out how you can offer assistance, how you can help them achieve their goals. Let me give an example. I had a good friend of mine about 6 years ago who put on a live event, and it was at the Ritz in London. And obviously really big exclusive venue. And it was a private by VIP invitation only. And we'd actually just met through LinkedIn, believe it or not. And I said to her, I said, how can I serve you? How can I offer value to you? She said, I've got this event on. We've got Sharon Lecter attending. We've got these people attending, and I'd really love it if you knew of anybody in your network that would benefit from attending and listening to some amazing speakers. I'm like, okay, cool. So what I did is I spoke to some of people in my network, and I got 6 people at that event. I didn't expect anything in return, nothing in return. But what happened off the back of that, because I'm a big believer that the more that you give to the world, the more that you give in terms of value, the more the universe will reward you. I'm a big believer in that. And so when Sharon sat down with me, Sharon Lecter sat down with me and like, I'm so amazed about the value that you've given to one of my students. I'd like to offer something in return. I went, okay, cool. So she offered to write the foreword to my book, Fit Body, Fit Business. So that was a pretty amazing thing, right? You don't get that every day of your life. So really think about, there's so many things to think about when it terms of growing your business. And I know that I've only got sort of a couple more minutes because I'm actually on a masterclass in about 2 minutes. But I hope that some of the things that I've taught you today has given you some new ideas, and so yeah, I guess some new ideas to help grow your business and help you kind of get through the COVID times. So hope that helps.
Always a lot of energy, isn't it, Adam?
I mean, literally, I could have done that. That presentation that I've just given you, right? That is a full day for me, easy.
Yeah.
So as you can understand, me doing it in 25 minutes or thereabouts, it's kind of like down to that.
You've got 2 minutes left, but does anybody have any questions to ask Adam?
I just had, first of all, Adam, that was really tremendous, because, you know, sometimes where you feel you're on track and then you point a few things and you think, there's a lot of tweaking and stuff like that. So one thing you mentioned, which I believe totally in, is the testimonial side. You mentioned something, what was it called? Is it testimonial market or something you mentioned?
It's called testimonial-based marketing.
Testimonial-based marketing. Is that like a site or a specific business setup, or what is it?
It's actually part of your branding. So a brand isn't just literally your mission and your vision and your values. Testimonial-based marketing is essentially, you know, so for example, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn is just a great tool to have testimonials on there. I use that as a way to collect my testimonials. So the more testimonials that you have, the more credibility you have in terms of your industry.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted that clarity. I wasn't sure whether, because we have them in different ways and I didn't know which way, but it is powerful. But yeah, that from me, yeah, massive value there, Adam. And I've already sent you requests to sort of connect up in that, but I'll be keeping a good check. Love the books. I'm going to get those as well, because I think there's a great deal. And coming from a youngster entrepreneur to here teaching on such great big platforms, a story on its own, isn't it, to learn from. So great value. 100%. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions for Adam? Kat said thank you.
You're welcome.
If anybody wants to get in contact with you, I think it's only Gaz has already found you, so it's just Rachel wants to find you. If you pop your details in the chat, that will be absolutely amazing.
You're welcome. I think probably the best way to connect with me actually is probably on LinkedIn, is a popular platform, or you can follow me on the Game Changers Experience podcast, and you can listen to some of the shows that we have on there and plug in there, really.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so then I know you have to...
I do. We'll catch up. We'll catch up, Claire. I've got some really big news actually, so we'll catch up.
You've always got big news.
Big news, huge news. Very good. Listen, I'm so glad that you got some great value from today, guys. And listen, please feel free to connect with me. But do me a favor, because I get so many requests. Just say, hey, I just heard you on the Introbiz Sweden thing. I'll be really super grateful.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adam. You take care. Go on to your next
guys.
call.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was great, wasn't it? He's always full of energy, is Adam.
It's great. Really, really good. And some such great golden nuggets there he shared, isn't it?
He has, and on his Game Changers Summit as well. I don't know how he done it. It was a month. Every day for a month he was on, and every morning it would be on to talk about it.
Wow.
You know, the energy that he actually got is
great.
just absolutely amazing.
I know you've recorded this as well,